Hi there, this is Brent Smith and I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and welcome to the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Video Podcast. Yay, we're doing video again. Don't know how I got the time to do it, but hey, you got to make the time, right? The last couple weeks I've run out and had to do the audio. I guess they turned out okay, but that's fine. Today I'm going to be talking about universal basic income. Not the minimum wage, but a universal giveaway basic income. Yeah, that's the American way. That's the ticket. But first I want to touch on this Russia nonsense. People who know me, people who have listened and watched and read me, know that I'm not a Trump guy, all right, necessarily. I've supported him. He's been absolutely terrific. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not a Trumpster. I'm not an ever-Trumper. I'm also not a never-Trumper. I'm just a reasonable, logical, objective individual American that when Trump does something great, which he has done a lot, I praise him. When he pulls a bonehead maneuver, that's the way it goes. I'll call him out on it. That's the only reasonable, honest, and fair way to deal with any president. But this indictment nonsense, the Mueller investigation, which is a complete and utter sham and a crock, and the indictment of the 12 or however many Russian agents, the GRU agents in Russia, that just happened to coincide with the visit to Russia with Trump and the EU nonsense and whatever. And so they come out, and CNN and MSNBC and all the leftist media are making a big deal about the indictments of the Russians, the indictments, and President Trump has to cancel his Russia trip. President Trump can't nominate a Supreme Court justice because of this and that, and President Trump can't do this and can't do that, and he must cancel and he must that. The left always makes demands of people. They never make any requests. They never suggest that Trump maybe should postpone. No, they demand he must cancel the Russia trip, like that has anything to do with it, because these guys were indicted. Well, last I checked, in the American judicial system, an indictment doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means that they think you're guilty. Now, okay, they have apparently enough reasonable suspicion to indict you. The old saying is you can indict a ham sandwich. Well, that's absolutely, positively correct. You can indict anyone for anything if you work at it. And boy, howdy, they've been working at it. The Mueller hit squad has been working at this thing for a long time and spending millions and millions of our dollars with no accountability, and now they've indicted Russian agents in Russia that are going to remain in Russia, and there's not a chance in hell that then come in here and go on trial. So it's a bloody waste of time. It's a bloody waste of money. And like I said, these guys they're probably guilty as crap. I mean, they're GRU agents, which is FSB. I mean, it's the same daggum thing, all right? But the point is that in the American judicial system, an indictment is not a guilt. It's not a guarantee of guilt. You still have to go to trial. You have to try these guys, and they could be found not guilty as well as they could be found guilty. They're probably guilty, but that's not for me to judge. It's for a jury or a judge or a panel or whoever would do such a thing. So the point is that the left is making a big whoop-de-doo about indictments. Well, again, you can indict a ham sandwich. It doesn't mean a frickin' thing. And the fact that they're demanding that Trump do this and Trump do that because of the indictments that have come down from Mueller is a crock of crap. And it's just more hay that they're trying to make of this stupid Russia investigation, which is a monumental frickin' waste of time. And Trump should have shut this thing down long ago, taken the slings and arrows, and would have been done with. So that's all I got to say about that. And I'll be right back to talk about universal basic education. Or excuse me, universal basic, I wish there was a universal basic education. Maybe the American people wouldn't be as ignorant as they are. But anyway, universal basic income, and that'll be a fun topic to discuss today on the Common Constitutionalist. Be right back.
You're watching the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Video Podcast.
Okay, welcome back. Again, my name is Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and this is my Common Constitutionalist Weekend, yay, video podcast. And I'm once again at the nice secluded area at my son's college. It's summer, so there's literally nobody around, except for when I start filming, and then people seem to drive by and walk by and yeah, wave and whatever. But hopefully that won't happen. And the biggest problem with coming to this school is that there's a chapel, which is right there, as a matter of fact, and the church bells go off every hour. So they just went off, so I'm hoping, or a little while ago, so I'm hoping that I can get this in before the bells toll for the whatever. So, universal basic income. Universal basic income, and I've got my notes once again, hopefully I can hold to them again. So universal basic income is it's a crock. It just is. Otherwise called UBI. We'll just call it UBI because I don't want to have to repeat universal basic income every time. And it's just another form of government control. Think about it. It's also socialism, where everyone, regardless of their level of industry, can share of the spoils of other people's labors. Now, what, Mr. Common Constitutionalist, would you mean by that? A guaranteed minimum income is provided by the government, is it not? Well, yes it is, and that's the sad part. To most of us conservatives who read and listen and watch this kind of stuff and have kind of lived for this political nonsense and for the rule of law, the Constitution, all that other inconsequential things that don't have anything to do with America's Got Talent or the Kardashians, then we already know this stuff. We get immediately and instinctively that no government can provide anything to anyone without first confiscating it from us, the taxpayers. Governments don't produce money, they don't make money, they don't make anything. They steal money from us under force of law, and it is lawful and it is Constitution to steal our money. That's the way it goes. But thank you, Woodrow Wilson. Again, you jerk. I hate that guy. At any rate, the government, because they don't have any money of their own, they have to take from us first, and then they can give it to whomever. And that sounds like a good thing, and it sounds like the Robin Hood syndrome. But unlike Robin Hood, see, Robin Hood used to steal from the rich and give to the poor, all right? And so that was supposed to be fabulous. The fact that he stole from the rich, even if they were evil rich, wouldn't make any difference. It would still be wrong, but such is life. So anyway, the government's even worse than Robin Hood because they steal from the rich, they steal from the middle class, they steal with any money, anybody who pays taxes, and they give it to whomever they want, whomever they deem deserving. And it doesn't make any difference if it's the billion-dollar corporations or poor people, it doesn't matter. So the unfortunate thing is that these kinds of these facts, these warped Robin Hood facts, where government confiscates our money and gives it to whoever they think. They pick winners and losers. It's what the governments are good at. That's evil good, but they're good at picking winners and losers. But the fact is that this kind of stuff is lost on leftists, and particularly lost on leftist politicians who want to garner votes and want to garner support and want to garner donations. And it was particularly lost, or it is particularly lost on Stockton, California Mayor Michael Tubbs. He wants to start a pilot program to give 100 lucky people $500 a month as UBI, Universal Basic Income, with what he says is no strings attached. Good one, no strings attached. Yeah, sure. Sounds like a drug dealer who's, you hear the stories of a drug dealer trying to break into a new market, and they give their drugs away for a period of time to get people hooked on their drug. And then after they get enough people hooked, then they jack back up the prices. Well, jack up the prices from it's free to it's far from free now, but they already got you hooked. So you got to beware when Mr. Government Man comes walking around handing out anything, whether it be a product, whether it be a service, or whether it be cash-a-rooney, with no strings attached. There may be no strings attached today, or next month, and a month after that, or even next year. But eventually, the government is going to say, oh, you know what, that money we've been giving you for years and years and years, well, we need you to do this. We really need you to do this. And if you don't do this and this and this and this, and if you don't eat the way we want, and if you don't go to school at the school that we prescribe, and you don't do this particular thing, and get this particular vaccination, and what, it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you don't do this, we're not going to give you your $500 a month stipend anymore. That's just a little thing. Don't worry about it. It'll be easy to comply. That's the way it always works with the government. It may be free and voluntary now, but it won't be, all right? So giving away free money, free stuff, it's never worked at any time, anywhere. Socialism has never worked anytime, anywhere it's tried. It breeds sloth in some and ill will in others. Okay, so not the givers, but the people that are getting the I don't even know. It must be some special event. Hey, look, somebody looked out the window and say, hey, he's back again. Let's ring those daggum bells. Yeah, baby. Because unless there's a wedding, maybe? I don't know, because this isn't the normal time bells. So hopefully I'll have to speak up over the bells so you can hear me. So anyway, giving free stuff away, giving other people's stuff away, it never works, and it breeds sloth, like I said, lazy people. It also breeds ill will for the industrious that get the stuff confiscated from them to give to the lazy people, all right? And William Bradford, remember from the original Plymouth colony, the Mayflower and everything, the leader of the Plymouth colony, governor of the Plymouth colony, even they found out that socialism doesn't work. Taking away from some and giving to others regardless doesn't work. It was capitalism, if you recall correctly, that saved the really? It was capitalism that saved the colonies, not the engines. They didn't save the colonies. They actually took part in the capitalist revival of the colony. And of course, we who think this way, the proper way, the conservative way, the constitutionalist way, the lawful way of don't steal other people's stuff and give it to don't steal people's stuff and give it to other people. We always point to the Margaret Thatcher line that the problem with socialism is eventually you'll run out of other people's money. I can't do Margaret Thatcher either. I couldn't do Maxine Waters the other week. Whatever. The only one I can do is John Conyers. Hey, read the bill. So anyway, on that happy note, and the bells are done. Oh, had to get one more in. Oh, stop the madness. We're gonna take a break. I'll be right back. Gee whiz.
You're watching the Common Constitutionalist video podcast.
All right, I am back, and we're quiet. There's no bells. Yay, hooray for me. Maybe I can get through this. What do I got here? Boy, I got a long way to go, bro. Better step up the pace here. So anyway, UBI, Universal Basic Income, is no different from any other giveaway. Like welfare, food stamps, free healthcare, housing, etc. It's all the same socialist nonsense. They can dress it up any way they like, and call it whatever the crap they want. It doesn't change the reality that these idiot philanthropists and devious politicians, and that's who they are, that's what they are, they may say otherwise, but that's what they are just creating another dependency class by doing so, and they're actually ruining the lives that they claim to want to save. And I'll get into that. But hey, at least Mayor Tubbs will garner about 100 more votes than he would have already gotten, so it's worth it, right? So the ultra-rich like Facebook, Zuckerberg, and Chris Hughes, he's the co-founder of Facebook, Elon Musk, and he's the wealthiest billionaire welfare queen on the planet, and Richard Branson can all be celebrated because they all support this minimum basic or universal basic income nonsense. So they care more than we do, so we should celebrate them. Hooray for philanthropist, idiotic billionaires. But it's their money, assuming they're giving away their money and they're not just advocating for taking our money and giving it to the whoever they deem more worthy than us, all right? I just made the money, but I'm not worthy enough to keep it, apparently. What the crap. What a backwards deal. And Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes said, quote, it is such a fundamental idea behind America that if you work hard, you can get ahead, and you certainly don't have to live in poverty. I absolutely 100% agree, except, continuing the quote, but that isn't true today for everybody but me, because I'm a billionaire, right, Chris? Yeah, okay. But that isn't true today, and hasn't been true in this country for decades, Hughes said. I believe that unless we make significant changes today, the income inequality in our country will continue to grow and call into question the very nature of our social contract, unquote. Well said, Mr. Hughes. And you know what, Chris? You're absolutely right. Of course, you have no freaking idea why you're right, because you're obviously either the luckiest guy on the planet or a genius, a tech genius like a lot of these guys are, but you're utterly, utterly clueless in your liberal beliefs regarding every other daggum thing on the planet. But you're right on this one. You just don't know why you're right. And you're right because the American system that they set up has been basically ruined around 1965 by we'll say the dawn of the modern American welfare state. Of course, it goes back to Woodrow Wilson, Andrew Jackson, Franklin Roosevelt, but it really started to blossom in the mid-60s under Lyndon Johnson. And that's when the country, really in earnest, began to go down the crapper, and we've been descending ever since. So, other than that, I'm very hopeful. No, so Stockton, quote, Stockton is a city that looks like a lot of the rest of the country, unquote, said Natalie Foster, co-founder and co-chair of the Economic Security Project. They're working with Mayor Tubbs on the giveaway project, the $500 a month giveaway to 100 lucky winners. It's like the sweepstakes, yeah, baby. And it probably might be. I don't know whether they're going to do a lottery system or whatever. But I wonder if Crockett, Sonny Crockett, is the vice mayor of Stockton. You know, because Tubbs is the mayor. You know, you get it. Vice, mayor, Crockett, Tubbs, Miami Vice. Get it? Yeah, I got the humor down pat today, baby. Yes. And unless you have no frickin' idea what I'm talking about, then too bad for you. Anyway, with population of more than 300,000, with one apparently that what they write, with 1 in 4 people living in poverty, Stockton was considered a great testing ground for the universal basic income. Hooray for Stockton. The Economic Security Project says that they, quote, believe I love this crap. This is just awesome. It's fantasy land. They believe unconditional cash has the power to end systematic poverty and, dig this, rebuild the middle class, unquote. And as I said, when government is involved, just like the mafia, there is no such thing as unconditional. There is no such thing as no strings, and there's no such thing as unconditional. It's just the way it goes. They got a deal that you can't refuse eventually. So Stockton's median income is about 50 grand a year. It's less than California's Stockton isn't the affluent, it's just next to the affluent. But it's median income is 50 grand. That's still nothing to sneeze at. So that's middle class, I suppose. So what did what's her face say there? I don't know what the crap her name was. Natalie somebody Foster said that believes unconditional cash has the power to end systematic poverty and rebuild the middle class. So how are you going to rebuild the middle class on $500 a month? Okay, you need to get to 50,000 to get to the middle class. How are you going to rebuild it on $500 a month? That's absurd. But again, we're not supposed to question the virtue signaling. We're supposed to celebrate it. And we're supposed to say how wonderful you people are for caring. And you're supposed to say that Tubbs and his Mayor Crockett are doing a fabulous job. They care more than you do, and you should be happy to pony up the $500 a month to give to somebody more worthy than you. That's the way it works. But unfortunately, this experiment, and this is, you got to think about this, okay? This experiment isn't harmless, and it doesn't just involve working with laboratory mice, okay? If something goes wrong and a mouse dies, or a mouse gets infected, or a mouse grows a tumor on his back, or something, okay, fine, that's terrible, but it's a mouse. It's not a human being, all right? The problem is that these people are experimenting. They're doing social engineering. They're experimenting with real human beings, not laboratory mice. They don't seem to get this, or they think that they're doing so much good that, what was it, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet? That's the socialist view. That's the liberal view. If some people, if it fails on some, it fails because of them, not because of us. We almost had it right this time. Communism, socialism, we'll get it next time. We just need a different leader. We need a different approach, but it'll be the same outcome. So what they do is they get these poor saps hooked on the free money, the $500 a month or whatever it turns out to be. And then what happens when it runs out? You end up making these people's lives worse than they would have been because of your warped engineering. I just don't understand why they don't see the end game as going to be disaster for these poor people. They're not, if you give them something, that means they don't have to go out and earn it. They don't need to do anything. They're not going to have any sense of satisfaction or sense of worth. They're not going to, again, you just hand them something. They don't have to perform a task. They don't need to do anything to acquire that cash. You just give it to them. How is that going to build the middle class? How is that going to build any work ethic or anything? It's not. It's ridiculous. So the Economic Security Project, the Natalie Foster thing, website also states that many of us came to the idea of guaranteed income out of the concern for robots stealing our jobs. But Mayor Tubbs, I love that name, Mayor Tubbs, also understood that this isn't just an idea to solve for a future state of joblessness. Like my colleagues and I, he believes it too to be an immediate strategy to fight against poverty and income insecurity today. I love income insecurity. That's fabulous. Because you know what? Anyone who isn't independently wealthy, at one time or another, has always suffered from income insecurity. If you lose your job, income insecurity. If you get hurt on the job, or something happens where it disrupts your pay for a period of time, that's income insecurity. Or even if you think your company may be downsized and you may be caught up in it, whether it's white collar, blue collar, no collar, whatever collar, speaking of collars, it doesn't matter. That's income insecurity. So it's this global bullcrap statement that they just throw out like the virtue signaling because it sounds good. But they're absolutely right. Tons of jobs are going to be lost to robots and automation, and the number one cause of that can be the hyper speed of innovation. The number one cause of that is going to be the arbitrary number that they choose, which is the artificially high minimum wage in California and spreading across the country. And that stupid fight for 15 nonsense, not to mention the taxes that you're going to have to raise to give away all the extra money. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm really starting to get ticked off about this. And I thought I was going to... Now, I didn't think I was going to do a light and airy podcast because it never ends up being that way. But sometimes I stay more reasonable and rational than others. I started out reasonable and rational and objective, and this stuff, it's starting to really get under the old skin and nice, getting stuck in there a little too deep. So under the existing laws in California, the minimum wage increased from $9 to $10 an hour on January 1, 2016. The measure increased the minimum wage to $11 an hour, effective January 1st, 2017, $12 an hour in 2018, and by $1 an hour each of the next 3 years to a total of a cumulative of $15 an hour by January 1, 2021. If you're a mom and pop shop, if you're a laundry, if you're a small restaurant, or heck, even a chain of restaurants, you're not going to be able to virtually double people's salary in the space of about 5 or 6 years. It's not going to happen. You don't have that much profit margin built in. And like Rush always says, you don't have a box of money or a bunch of money sitting under your desk that you can just pull out wads of cash and say, here, spread it around, because you're supposed to be, you're some greedy owner or something like that. It's just nonsensical. These guys, most of the time, small business owners, I know, a lot of the times get paid last. They take care of their employees completely, and then they get paid last if they get paid at all sometimes. That's the way it really works, you socialist jackweeds. So you know that there's the political class, people on both sides say this, there's a new saying that there's a special place in hell for whomever they don't like, okay? Trump said it, I think. Hillary said it. I can't remember who else has said it. A number of political people have said there's a special place in hell for whatever they don't like. Well, there is a special place in hell for these people who prey on the weakness and misfortunes of others for their own gain. That, my friends, is just pure evil. This universal basic minimum income, or whatever they want to call it, is a load of crap. It's going to ruin people's lives. You watch, it's going to happen. Between that and the fight for 15, that's the problem, is the government, as usual, comes in there, creates a problem where none existed before. They cry on the mountaintops that, yeah, this is a problem, and we're here, we're from the government, and we're going to fix the problem. They make what either was a small problem or what was no problem at all, they either make it worse or create a problem, and then they come in and try to solve their own problem, and always make it worse because of that. So that's about it, and that's what universal basic income is going to be. It's going to be just another welfare giveaway, and it's a total crap. So that's all I got to say. This is Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist. Y'all have a blessed balance of the weekend. I plan to. I think this afternoon my son and I are going to do our annual, or multi-annual at this point, river traverse, where we actually hike up a river, in a river, and it's frickin' fun. And it's going to be nice and hot, and the river water is going to be probably about 80 degrees. Yay for us. It'll be good, as long as we don't get eaten by some river monster. I don't think they have them there. So, anyway, y'all have a great week. I'm out. See ya.